The enemies in Skyward Sword were actually pretty well made. But again, what would this list be without some weird enemies? We got some really weird enemies coming and some really cool ones too. So let's just get to it. We're the Owners of Triforce, I'm Owner 2, and this is our top 5 coolest and weirdest enemies in Skyward Sword. Hope you enjoy. To start off this list, we got the Remnant. Not necessarily one of the weirdest creatures in Skyward Sword, but we did find something weird about them. You know, these creatures are actually very cute, during the daytime I might add. It is when nighttime occurs that these creatures transforms into these bloodthirsty monsters. They are very aggressive and will attack when it sees Link. It will back off if you hit it, but it will quickly come back for more. It's a bit weird that they change look from during the daytime over to nighttime. So, we have talked about the Bokoblins before, but there's a new Bokoblin in Skyward Sword, and that is the Cursed Bokoblin. They do look a bit weird, we'll admit that, but it's also actually cool to see them as undead. They're only seen in Ancient Cistern, but that did not stop us from putting them on our list. I would also like to mention that Koloktos, the boss in the Ancient Cistern, summons these enemies when you fight him, which is pretty cool. First of all, we've seen a lot of weird enemies in the Zelda franchise, and the Spumes from this game are no exception. There are 4 different types of Spume. You got Curse Spume, Electro Spume, Magma Spume, and Water Spume. But that doesn't matter at all, because they all are equally weird. They reside in water, /lava, /sand. They pop out of these types of biomes, and damn, look at them. Fat little creatures with small arms and square eyes. Do they have square eyes? Well then, this couldn't get any better. Pretty weird, all of the types looks equally weird, and they got square eyes. Case closed. These aren't very common enemies in the Zelda universe, but we found them to be cool, so we picked them. Which enemy I'm talking about? Well, let me tell you. I'm talking about the Staldras. The Staldras are 3-headed Hydra-like enemies. Just that is cool. But they added one more feature to them that made them even cooler. 3 skulls, each on one of their heads. Awesome! Not much more to say about them other than they are really cool enemies. These are pretty common enemies. The Keese are one of the standard enemies you can find in the Zelda universe. In some games they look totally normal, nothing fancy, normal bats. But in some games they just look totally weird, like in Skyward Sword. Well, to be fair, they aren't insanely weird, they just look different. Again, these enemies come in different variants, like Fire Keese, Thunder Keese, and of course the normal Keese. A totally new one is Dark Keese. The Dark Keese isn't as bad as the others. The normal ones plus the rest looks weird. It's mostly their eyes that stand out on them. They got these huge round eyes that stick out. The eyes got many different colors, so it actually makes them look a bit derpy. Overall, they are alright enemies. Nothing special except from those derpy eyes. These guys are big and scary. You got 2 types of guardians. You got the normal guardian, which is underground, and you got the flying guardian, which of course flies. You do not want to be spotted by these. The music that plays when they spot you is so goddamn stressful. I'll play it for you. These enemies are encountered when you're in the Silent Realm. You can't do anything about them, which makes them more brutal. since you don't stand a chance if they get you. Really cool enemies. We couldn't decide between Froak or Craniok on our second place, so we cheated a bit, because we can, so we chose both. Both of these enemies have something in common: they both explode. Let's talk about Froak first. Froak is a pufferfish that resides in both water and air. As soon as they touch something, they go boom. No warning, nothing, just explosion. They doesn't actually look very cool either. Huge open eyes just waiting for its target. Weird. Let's jump on over to Craniok. Craniok is like an underwater torpedo, lurking underwater and waiting for you to show up. When they see you, they go all rage mode, turning red and charging towards you. I'm not sure how to describe both enemies other than that they look totally weird, they explode, and they're both like water. Lizalfos are one enemy we've seen in a lot of Zelda games, but that does not make them bad though. They have improved very much. The Lizalfos in this game are similar to the ones in Twilight Princess, but I did add some new things to them. Well, first of all, I just want to say in general, these enemies are really cool. But as I said, they did add some new stuff to them, which makes them even cooler. They added a stone-like gauntlet to them, that they can use as a shield. Isn't that just awesome? Well, there is more. The standard Lizalfos are green, but they added dark Lizalfos too, which is more purple-like. The color switch actually made them even cooler. So, what could be cooler than a fire-breathing Lizalfos with a stone gauntlet? You will find out soon. Guai isn't a new creature, we've seen them before. They look like normal birds, nothing special. So the big question then is, why the heck is this the number one weirdest creature? Well, allow me to explain. They shit on you. Yeah, you heard me. They actually take a shit on you. It's not a small one either. It's a shit nearly their own size. It also looks like those standard cartoon shits, with a little twirl to it. Sorry for the specific information, but it just had to be said. So, this pile of shit actually slowly drains away your stamina, so you have to shake it off to get rid of it. There's nothing more to say about this, I've said enough. This is why Guai tops our weirdest enemies list. So, to no surprise, we chose the Stalfos as our number one coolest enemy. Could you even tell? I'm not even sure how many times they have topped our lists, and there is of course a reason to that. Skeletons wielding swords are awesome. They of course looks badass in this game too. Very funny to fight against, since you have to hit them from a certain angle, since they can block certain spots with their blades. Since we didn't add a mini-boss list to Skyward Sword, we also include Stalmaster here. A freaking Stalfos with 4 arms and 4 swords. That reference though. Well, it's basically 4 random weapons, so once again, the Stalfos tops our list.